To the elections, we are observers. CDD is an observer. It is also a democratic observer. So we project, we analyze, we look at the political environment. For instance, ahead of this election, we have splitted election. I mean, there are 18 local governments in Edo, and I think about 195 wards in Edo. So we, for purpose of deployment, we also look at the dominant areas where more aspirants are based, where more political gladiators are, can be located, and the number of votes or PUs in particular local governments. All of these are indicators that can give you eye view of what is likely to happen. And we're also saying the fact that there are going to be two candidates in the central.
Yes.
It has its own consequences or implications. Let me not call it consequences.
Yes, implications.
But the issue is, we also, so because there are the three major political parties have very prominent people as candidates, also is a big factor in this election. For us observers, we are particular about, after the voter registration, we begin to know how many people are going to vote in this election.
Exactly.
If we have, for instance, 5 million people, and about 18 people are contesting for this thing, you can imagine everybody will win a vote now.
Yeah, of course.
No, so the issue is we are particular about a popular candidate emerging, so that we hear such issues about 5%, 95%, that kind of stuff. So we want a popular outcome, and a candidate who emerges as a popular candidate, it gives him a psychological edge, to govern. If you look at the national election we did in 2023, I mean, how many people, is it not 8 million that the winner got, right? I mean, out of how many millions? It is not, you cannot call that a popular election. And people are aggrieved about it. So what we're saying in essence is encourage as many people as possible to be eligible to vote. Sensitize people, speak to them, encourage them, so that they will be willing. Because like we said, I acknowledged, there are people who are also still aggrieved out of the last election. They need to be spoken to. You have to segment voters in such a way that different people need different kind of messaging.
Okay.
You understand? So you, as the one canvassing for votes, you say, look, this local government feels aggrieved for one reason or the other. You will develop a particular kind of message for them, address them, and make promises. And such promises must be, CDD fact-checks politicians now. We're going to do that, intensify that. We monitor disinformation. We monitor hate speech. We monitor fake news. All of this. So there's no hiding place for politicians who want to play smart practices, who want to hold you to what you say. If you're also promising what you cannot do, we remind you that this is what you did. I mean, we did it during the Buhari period. We call it Buhari meter or whatever. But because these people were never serious about their promises, you will see that it's not something that you want to endure here. Our democracy is still developing. But I agree that this election is going to determined by a number of factors. You see, they may be happy that North Central suddenly have two candidates emerging from there. But we, watching from outside, we know what is best for this democracy. We must encourage people now to see as many as have registered to vote. Let the environment be enabling, encouraging enough for them to come. Women who are scared of violence, they must be guaranteed there's not going to be violence, and the security people must not be seen to be doing what we know them to do. They must placate the people. They must guarantee the people, look, there's not going to be violence. If there's any such thing, you must rise to the occasion. Just a few days ago, we read about some kind of incident in some parts of Edo State. I was thinking it has linkage to the election, but it's not. It's a different kind of issue.
It's isolated.
Exactly, it's an isolated incident.
Now that INEC has, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Now that INEC has opened their continuous voter register, which it paves the way for. So what should these political parties be doing at this moment? Now,
you see, the opportunity here now is for people who want to transfer to transfer. There are some people who are registered far from where they're supposed to be. This is an opportunity for them to do that. This is an opportunity for them to correct even anything that has to do with their identity and all of that. This is an opportunity for even fresh people to also vote. But what INEC should do now is to, voter registration or continuous voter registration is supposed to be make it very conducive, very easy for people to do. You see, the issue is, in our own democracy, there are still people who are unwilling to exercise their franchise. You can actually speak to them to change their mind. That's why I like American situation. They can devote a lot of energy on few electorates, which can change a lot of things. So make it easier for people to vote. If normally best practices in voter registration is to take it to the people. Bring it closest to the people so that people will not travel far to do these things. And then when you say you are going to check people, stay there. They said 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. You must remain there. I mean, we have seen situations that are certain areas you go, you won't even see the people. And people will come waiting. They will not come at the right time. So the truth is, whatever needs to be done, both all the stakeholders, INEC has a serious role to play. Political parties cannot sit back and waiting to hit the government house just by fiat. It's not done like that. They must work for it. They must work on the people. Well. People must, as we approach the election, there are people who will say, I'm going to vote for social party. A few days to the election, they change their mind. This is what the campaign is supposed to enable. Should continue to work on the people to change their mindset, because not all the voters are card-carrying members of political parties. Some just want to look at, how principled candidates are, how tolerable are the politicians, or the political parties. Have you delivered before? Have you, do you keep your promises and all of that? The enlightened voters will continue to check this towards the election.